Hi, my name is Dwayne, and I have been church hurt. Hey everybody, it's your boy, the man, the myth, the legend, the anomaly, Dwayne O'Neal Robinson, back at it again with another YouTube video. Listen, I want to welcome you to DOR'S space. This is a space and the place for you to gain positivity, motivation, and inspiration all through the means of laughter. If this is your first time clicking onto my page or to one of my videos, I am imploring you that you click on that subscribe button and on that bell. Therefore, every time I upload amazing content, you will be notified. And I am happy to announce that I have reached, our community has compiled 151 subscribers. I want to thank each and every one of you for supporting my channel. We are growing and I'm super excited to see where we will be at the end of 2021. So the topic that I will be discussing today is very personal to me. I'm opening up about it. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing my experience on how I've been church hurt. I'm going to give you a little bit of background of my denomination, how I grew up in the church and what caused the hurt, and how I've healed from it. I was born and raised in the Seventh-day Adventist Christian Church. Okay, it is a Protestant church. Seventh day, based off of the title, we believe that the seventh-day Sabbath, the day of worship and reconciliation and connecting with God in our community, is on Saturday, which is known as our Sabbath. Advent basically meaning we believe that Jesus will be coming back a second time to scoop up all his wonderful children. And Christian, again, we believe in Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior, and we believe in Christian fundamentals. Just to give you a little bit of background, at the age of 8, I was baptized. I knew exactly what I was doing. I understood the basic fundamentals of the Bible, of what our denomination stood for, what were the precepts, what were the bylaws. I had a good understanding of what it was. So my parents co-signed and said, yes, if you want to give your life to God, go ahead and do it. And ever since then, I was working in the church. So my first job I had at 8 years old was being a junior deacon. So I would collect offering during the youth service. I would help clean after church. And then I would do various different activities, various different jobs throughout the years growing up that was allotted to me. Nominated for, voted in for, whatever the case may be. So as you can see, I am a church boy. Church is my core. And the reason how I am the way I am and how I move and shake is because of church. It has helped mold me. And I'm very proud of it, and I'm not gonna depart from it. So it's just who I am. Like I said, growing up, my life just was home, school, and church. And it was very strict, very biblical. It was, these are the rules. If you break them, you have these consequences that you're going to have to deal with within the church, at home, spiritually, and even physically, mentally, emotionally. You're going to have to pray and ask God for forgiveness and suffer the repercussions. You make your bed, that's the way how you lay down in it. So it was very black and white, like I said. As I got older, I started to observe certain things, but because growing up in a Jamaican household in a Jamaican church, a child has to know their place. So there are certain things I would hear other adults say or do, and I'd be like, I don't really think that's right, but I had to be quiet, bite my tongue, because that's not my place. However, again, very active within the congregation that I am a part of and affiliated with, you know, from praise team to working on different projects and committees and departments. You know, I just wanted to use all my gifts and talents for God, because I said, okay, He gave me these gifts, He's given me these talents. My mom dedicated me back to Him. So everything that I have, everything that I owe it all to Him. So I just really was a open, honest, willing servant of God when it came to church. And people took advantage of that, you know, and there were some things that transpired that should have never happened. And, you know, life happens. People pass away, people move away, leadership changes, you know, the culture changes, time changes, the seasons change, however you want to look at it. But what I was taught is that God don't change. His word don't change. So I was like, okay, well, that's what I'm going to be sticking with. Now, throughout the years, I started, again, like I said, noticing certain things that weren't necessarily right. And one particular instance I will never forget, where I washed my hands completely of the church and stepped away for some time, there was a particular department I was a part of, and the director of the department at that time, within a meeting, stated to me in front of all of my peers that I, Dwayne, never supported, never did anything to advance the department. I didn't care about it. And at that moment, that was the most hurtful, malicious, humiliating kiss of death I ever received. And it sucked because it came from someone who was supposed to be on my side in the church. It was so bad within the meeting at the time. The individual said, "You could say that about me, but you can't say that about Dwayne." And the thing about it was, for years, I'm talking about over 20 years of dedication, of doing all that I can for the children, the youth, the adult, the elderly, you name it, I did it. And I just felt at that moment, I'm done. I can't do anything to please nobody. Out of all the years, out of all the service, out of everything that I've done, this is what this individual fixed their mouth to say to me. I was done. That knocked the wind out of me. That to me was cold-blooded murder, and it was embarrassing, and it was a blatant lie. And I just didn't want anything to deal with the organization with that particular congregation. I just stepped away and I just withdrew completely. And a lot of people were asking, you know, why are you not singing no more on the praise team? Why we don't see you participating within the service? Why we don't see you doing this? Why we don't see you doing that? And it became to a point wherein I just didn't want to anymore. I didn't want to anymore because here I am, going to school, doing all of these extracurricular activities throughout school, coming home, maintaining what I have to do at home and maintaining what I have to do at church. I'm making all these type of sacrifices. I didn't go away to college. I stayed home. I looked out for the younger generation, tried to be a role model for them. I'm fighting tooth and nail for them. I'm seeing the cliques and the classism and the social injustice and the black on black crime. I'm seeing just, people tear down other people. I'm being accused of things. I'm being called out of my name. And I ignored it all at one point in time. And I would step away, come back, and I'm like, no, I got to do this for the young people. I got to do this for my mom. I got to do this for my family. I got to do this for everybody but God. Right? Everybody but God and everybody but myself. And that's what really matters. Instead of church being a place of refuge, it became a place of toxic negativity for me. And it was very hurtful. I was bitter. I was upset. A lot of opportunities that I felt I should have been even granted or thought about or offered, I was overlooked. People just classified me and put me in this one box, spread rumors about me, talked about me, and I put a smile on my face as if like everything was okay, and it became to a point like, no, it wasn't. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I was innocent too, because once somebody hurt me, I wanted to hurt them back. So if you said something about me, I'm going to say something back about you, and I didn't care. And that is not what I was taught. That's not what church was about. That's not how I grew up. So, when you're being called out your name and people saying different things about you, you're going to be hurt. You're going to be upset. You're going to want to retaliate. You're going to want to defend yourself. And what put the icing on the cake, to me, I would never forget the date. It happened Sunday, November 18, 2018. And then the following year of 2019, what ended up happening was there was this whole Monica Lewinsky, Bill Clinton scandal. It was just absolutely horrid. The church just shifted. It became like this whole shade room, division, sides being chosen, words being slung, people just feeding off of the drama. And I was caught in the middle because of the two individuals that were within the scandal of the affair. I had an affiliation with them both, and I just was like, I already backed away from the previous year and withdrew, and this even made me even pull back even more, and it was just too much going on. And then 2020 comes along, and boom, what happens? COVID, right? So now church is closed down, and nobody can go to church. So I say all of that to say this. Whew, that's a mouthful. Basically, even though COVID is such a bad thing and it was a rough year for everybody, I'm very grateful for COVID because it exposed a lot of people and a lot of things. Because everything that I was talking about, the social injustice, you treating there's a certain clique and they could get away with certain things and they could do certain things, and now when their spot gets blown up, they're throwing each other underneath the bus and everybody talking about everybody, and I was just like, y'all was acting perfect all this time and ostracizing me along with other people and making me feel inferior or like a black sheep and using me and having your way with me, and people would think we're all fine and dandy and we're one big happy family because I know how to play the politics, and I got tired of playing the politics, and now your spot got blown up. So you over here trying to be all perfect as if you don't have no sin, no problem, no pressures in life. Now everybody know your dirty laundry, your dirty secrets. And I truly don't feel bad. Because I believe if people would have just opened up and would have been their true, authentic self and stand on whatever they want to stand on, 10 fingers, 10 toes, and take accountability and responsibility for their actions, that is what I pride myself in, then just own it. You make a mistake, you own it. There's no such thing as a big sin or a little sin, yo. If you murder or tell a white lie in God's eyes, it's all sin. No sin is bigger or greater than the other. And these are all the things that I was taught. And then I'm seeing all these people that I admire or look up to, people in leadership, and they trying to tell me how to live my life, and they themselves can't run their own house. Wow, Sway, that makes no sense to me. You're judging me or you're judging other people. For example, you have a child out of wedlock, this, that, and the third, and they talk and trash and gossip about that person, but then come to find out they too have their children, or they have experienced that and no one knew. And then it gets exposed and it's just like, yo, you was just dogging this person and then you was doing the same thing. Like, keep that same energy, yo. Keep that same energy. What gave me my healing from my church hurt was this. Church, your clergy, your religion, whatever, your denomination, however you guys gather as a group or a body of people, you have to truly get this. Everyone falls short of the glory of God. We're human, we're imperfect, we're mortal, we make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. No one is perfect but God himself. Period. Church is a hospital. Everyone is trying to come to get a healing, to feel better, to get relief of pain. We're supposed to come and help each other and support each other. But sometimes church becomes a hospice, which it should never be. A death sentence, right? And if you're not careful, you could be injected with that toxicity as morphine and completely spiritually die and not know why. So you have to know that when it comes to your relationship, your soul salvation with God, that's between you and your maker, you and the creator. You better pray, read your scriptures. You better find a way to dig deep to know God for yourself. You can't look at other people, because other people and what they're doing, they may not show you everything. If something gets blown up, guess what? At the end of the day, hey, that's church. No one's perfect. No one's perfect. No one is perfect. Get that through your mind. It doesn't matter what church you go to, what clergy you go to, what mosque you go to, what temple you go to. Your parents, grandparents, boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, sister, brother, friend, colleague, anybody is going to fail you. Because we're imperfect and we make mistakes. Yes, you probably be like, oh, well, that should have never happened. You know better, this, that, and the third. Yeah, but again, if you're so righteous, and you haven't sinned, cast the first stone. Be your true self. Be open. Be honest. Say, hey, I struggle with this. I have an issue with this. But how could you be open and honest when people around you are not being open and honest? When you don't even feel comfortable being open and honest with yourself. You can't even be open and honest to God. You're doing all of these things based off of the traditions and the culture and the outlook. And this is why a lot of people are leaving their denominations. They're leaving their religion behind, or dismissing religion and saying, oh, I'm more on a spiritual realm, because of the hypocrisy. because of the double standards, because of the unfairness, because what they were taught is not being practiced. That's the truth. Church being closed due to COVID, what's happening, a lot of people are saying, when church opens, I'm not going to go back. Because what's the point? I am the church, right? And again, you're not supposed to, reject the assembly of your congregation. Biblically in the Bible, it states that. But it comes to the point where the church itself has to change. The group of body of people have to change. The assembly has to change. And that's why I'm so grateful to be a millennial, because we are the whistleblowers. And we're saying, no, we're not going to sit here like other generations and be a part of something that we don't necessarily agree with. This is not in the Word. This is not how I was raised. This is not what I was taught. Where are the principles? Where are the ethics? Where are the morals? Where are the standards? What is going on? And once you're able to understand that, once you're able to say, hey, this is my truth, this is where I stand, this is how I know how to touch people, then you could start the healing process for yourself. Then you also need to forgive people that have done you wrong, reach out to them. Even if you do reach out to them and they don't reach back out to you, again, everyone is not mature enough to own and take responsibility and accountability for their actions. We're supposed to reason with one another. We're not supposed to fight tooth and nail against each other, gossip about each other, tear each other down, and be one of the 6 toxic people that I discussed in a previous video. We have to understand, again, that whether in the secular world or within the church, people are people. So I want to get this through to the world as well. Just because you're out there gallivanting, doing whatever it is that you do, you can't, within the church people are not supposed to judge the people that are in the secular world, and the people within the secular world should not judge the individuals in the church because they are imperfect too. All of us are trying to figure this thing out. And that's the truth. No one should be looking down on no one. No one should be making anyone feel inferior, especially when it comes to the politics, who does this, who says what, who the powers that may be, the leadership. I don't want no blood on my shoulders or on my hands. So I have backed away, completely resigned from all positions, because I need to keep my spiritual sanity. I say I'm pretty much healed, but there's certain parameters and boundaries that I've set that I will not, under any circumstance, let anyone disrespect me or try to break that boundary or barrier, period. But I understand why a lot of people are church hurt and why they end up leaving. The primary reason is people just don't want to change. People don't want to admit where they went wrong. People don't see where they went wrong. They can't own it. You give a suggestion and it's just like tossed to the side. But then when everything is said and done, they still take up your suggestion and don't give you no credit for it. And it's not fair. It's not right. And it has to change. But because of COVID, I believe the church is forced to change now. They're forced to look into technology. They're forced to not congregate. And they're forced to try to find ways to communicate differently. And now these things that are innovative and great tools and resources to use, they're forced to adapt. No one should force you to adapt. You have to change with the times. You have to evolve and develop and elevate yourself. But I'm not saying that you have to go back on your core beliefs and values. Stick with it. 10 figures, 10 toes down. Be your authentic self. But when you send mixed messages, it's hard for people to heal. But you have to understand, this is not a race, this is a marathon. If you are hurt, make sure you heal first. Make sure you surround yourself around positive people. If you have to step away from the organism, but don't step away from your organization. I would never say that unless you have some spiritual, by God, wherein He's telling you this is what you need to follow. This is the path that you need to take. I'm not God, I can't speak on that, but what I can speak on is take a step away, get to know what you need to know for yourself, get to know God, study for yourself, study to show thyself approved, forgive whoever you need to forgive, have those uncomfortable conversations that you need to have, put yourself out there, be vulnerable, be authentic. Therefore, people may not like you, but they will respect you because of what you're doing. And at the end of the day, your conscience, your heart, your mind is clear and your soul is at rest. And once you're able to do that, you'll be okay. That is my experience about being church hurt and how I've dealt with it, how I've grown to be more spiritually grounded and to know God for myself. I hope this was helpful for someone. Please comment below based off of your experience, what has happened to you. And again, until next time, thank you so much for listening to me. I hope that you walk away and see something from a different perspective. And remember, no one can judge you, only God can. But as long as you are progressing and moving forward, that's all that matters. And that if you stay consistent and persistent, you'll reach the final destination that you really are longing for. Thank you for watching again. Have a good one. Peace.